Adventure and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
All of my life I've been living with pain, dying inside, not knowing what to say, climbing the walls that I built from blame, wanna see with bright eyes, turn on the lights and I'm the only one home, my little lies are going up in smoke, won't be a hostage anymore.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio. And I am very excited about our next guest because they have some badass music and something I can really relate to. So let's welcome to the show, Graham from Hardcastle. How are you?
What's up? I'm great. It's great to be here.
Hey, great to have you. And I just want to start off right off the bat talking about, what I was referring to. I am a people pleaser from way back, and still to this day, it is such a difficult thing to get over, not only because of yourself, but because other people like you that way. And so they manipulate you using that against you. And now you wrote a song about it. So I'm pretty pumped about that song.
It's nice to know it seems to be somewhat universal thing that happens, because it can feel isolating sometimes. You always wonder too, like you always think when other people aren't that way that what's wrong with them, when it's really what's wrong, not what's wrong with them. It's that they're being one way and you're being another way, and maybe their way might be better. Sometimes I look at it that way. Like I have an ex-wife that lately I've been like, well, when it came to the kids, well, maybe she was the right one. When all throughout I was always like, why doesn't she do this? Why did blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, maybe she was the one that was right. It's all so many things that we don't know. And at the time we try to just do our best. Or I just try to, and then when you reflect, you're like, wow, could have gone that way. But yeah, I think what you're saying, like there's definitely seems to be different personality types, and some personality types have no problem just always being this version of themselves where it's like unapologetic, and it's not really taking into consideration, what is this? How am I being perceived right now? Yeah. Because I think that's part of it, is like you have this like, how am I being perceived right now? And sometimes it's like, I'm just gonna like, screw that. Like I'll just be doing whatever I want. I don't care how I'm perceived. I'm just gonna speak from my heart. But that's what I feel like I've started to grow into more as I've gotten to create this record and write about that and now externalize that. And I think it's a balance, I think being a healthy amount of considerate and empathetic and whatnot are great things, but stifling your own identity or stifling your voice because of a fear-based thing, it can be pretty tough to work through and try to express yourself, if you want to be in an expressive field.
And you think you're doing the right thing too, but you're not doing the right thing for you or the other person sometimes,
certainly.
You don't really think of that. That's why the name of the song, Hostage, that word alone kind of just describes it all. Like somebody like you and me, I look at that name and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. That's good. I'm glad it resonates and translates, what I'm trying to get at in that song and with that title.
Yeah. And it flows through the music. So as an example, perfect example. And I had it happen just recently too. So I go on tour and I do radio coverage at festivals. I'm perfectly happy going to festivals and concerts by myself because as a people pleaser, as you know, that's the only time you please yourself. Okay, so I'm the type, I want to be there first. I want to be there to the last song. I want certain things. And then when you're with other people, it's like you seem to set aside what you want so that you can give them the experience that they want.
Yeah.
And then you kind of miss out. And most of the times you may not notice it, but then there's other times where you're like, and I had this just recently, I'm like, see, that's why I go to festivals by myself.
Yeah. It can be tough because like you said, you don't really realize it while it's happening sometimes, and then afterwards you're like, wait, what just happened?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that can be a varying spectrum of intensity, and sometimes those experiences are so intense you want to go write a song about it or something,
right
but other times it's kind of a slow burn and slow build of experiences that reach a point where you're like, why do I feel this way? I feel like I am not having a sense of self or a strong sense of identity. And for me, I was like reflecting, I was like, wow, I've just kind of been with music, like how do I sound like the person who's having success that I know? Or how do I sound like what an A&R might like? How do I get that sort of validation? And it was, in some ways an authentic pursuit, but I think that stuff just kept seeping in the cracks to where it was like, I didn't even have my own sense of voice or self. I was so concerned with that type of thing.
Yeah. And it's funny when you're young, you're, at least me, you're proud of it. Like it's a badge of honor that you're a people pleaser. It isn't until years and years that you finally figure out, maybe that wasn't the healthy way to go. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of different personality types. And I know for me, I always felt like, making everyone, like more about other people than myself type of thing. And that can sometimes backfire because you end up making it about yourself and, in ways that you aren't fully aware of at the time because you're young or you just don't have that experience. So it's a tricky thing to navigate for sure.
Totally.
But it's great to, be able to connect on these experiences, especially through music, because I think at the end of the day, that's a major one of the best parts about making music is having experiences where someone's like, hey, I see some of myself in this song, or this, I relate to this, or I feel I resonate with this.
That's the beauty of music too. So as an artist, you can write a song, sing that song, and it doesn't have the same feeling of hesitancy or holding back as if you were just talking to somebody, because you're just singing a song. Right. Okay. So you can express yourself, whereas you wouldn't have normally done that just talking to somebody.
For sure. Yeah.
And for the listener, we can hear things that kind of let us know we're not alone and reevaluate maybe how we do things, but without somebody lecturing us. Yeah, we just hear it in a song and it relates.
And the other great thing about songs is there's this music too baked in that can support that. Like you're saying, it doesn't feel like someone's talking at you. You're kind of in this bed of sound, or sometimes like a wall of sound, and there's these visceral feelings. I know for me, when I hear records like Best of You, like Dave Grohl is like singing, screaming these words at you, but like the guitars are creating this, thunderous electric experience that I think helps you tap into that visceral sort of that visceral place that goes beyond words that can really help.
I agree.
Drive that stuff home, especially subconsciously.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where, too, I think music also helps, because I think some of the things, as an example, there's one lyric by Bring Me the Horizon that is, I think, like one of the most ingenious lyrics of all time. And maybe because I relate to it more than I ever admitted. That's the point, is like sometimes we don't even admit certain things to ourselves, much less anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And then we hear it in a song.
Right.
And so like, I'll tell people this particular lyric is like one of the most ingenious lyrics I relate to. And people that know me, like they look at me like, that doesn't seem like you, because that's the part that you're hiding within yourself that you don't really express and other people don't see.
Yeah.
And like that lyric I'm talking about is, I can't drown my demons. They know how to swim.
Yeah. That's such a great line. Yeah.
It's like, man, it's just ingenious because it's so true.
Yeah. It really can cut to the core in ways that get to connect with your inner self, which a lot of times is, there's so much going on in there that your friends, the people you know, don't really know, but all of a sudden a song comes along from someone who a lot of times you don't know, like an artist, and yet it feels like it's directly seeing inside of you beyond the external.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing. Like, I feel like it took me a long time to feel this, but what we're talking about is why it's so important that everyone creates their own most potent and authentic art, because you just don't know who out there it's going to connect with. And I think the more I've been learning, like the more honest you can be and the more unapologetic you can be with your expression, the more potent those connections are.
Yeah.
When your music gets out there, or at least that's the goal, you know?
And I think about it for like an artist like yourself, putting out a song like this, these strangers get to know you more and relate to you more than the people that know you best. As an example, my youngest daughter one time, she's like, I know you. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, she doesn't know me at all. She knows the me I show her, and she knows certain parts of me. But those other parts that are deep down, I think we share better with strangers than we do with the people we know, because with strangers, we don't have to worry about judgment, manipulation, all these other things that go along with it, because we're not going to have to encounter them necessarily with that person.
Yeah, that's a really interesting example to look through, because I think you're actually tapping into something. I mean, talking to a stranger about something can be this like revealing experience that you don't get. And because I mean, what we're talking about really is kind of a big part of what this song was inspired by, these sort of rigid, often rigid sort of patterns and thought patterns and guidelines that we put on our sense of self as we represent ourselves to the world. Like, this is who I am, and this is how I am socially with friends, like everything. And Hostage was inspired by taking agency over the fact that I can be anything. I can be beyond that. I don't have to be these sort of limiting beliefs or whatever. Like, you know, if you can transcend those type of things that you think define yourself, but really, you know, your own sense of direction can guide your who you are as a person. There you go.
And so, so this is just one song. Like, we've dedicated the interview to this song because it's so important. But this is one song of a great new EP, Circuit, right there.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I love it.
And so, basically, everybody's got to check out the new EP. You know, even if Hostage is not something you necessarily relate to, there's something else that you relate to. And it's really, I think the music's, you know, badass. And the fact that I relate to it is even better. But that's what music is, right? It's an ability to relate. It's ability to be yourself, too, as we were talking about before. Because, you know, when somebody says they know you, well, what do they know? You're not real. Most of the time, you're not being yourself. It's like even being in a music artist. Like your fans think they know you because they've been to your concerts, they've been to your meet and greets, and all that stuff, but they know that part of you, you know?
Yeah, and it also begs the question of like, will we ever know ourselves? I mean, it's such an elusive type of thing, and that's why I think just the best thing I can do is just try to follow my heart and my intuition and instinct, and create an ever evolving sort of approach where I'm just open and receptive to, I might not know everything and that someone else might not know me. I might not know myself, but it's a endless, I think, pursuit of staying in that alignment with what makes you.
Absolutely. And even what we show ourselves about ourselves. And that's what's great about music. And like a song like Hostage is like, I think we can finally admit certain things about ourselves that we don't, because other people are actually the same way. And we go, okay, it's okay to admit it to myself.
Yeah, totally. I mean, how many things are we like self-imposing,
right,
that are not like real,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And you think they are, but it's not.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Yeah, hopefully there are things in life that give you a glimpse that, wait, I can transcend that thing that has made me feel like I can't get up on stage and sing. And someone told me that once in my life, or something happened, and that's become a rigid belief that I have about myself. And then all of a sudden you hear a line in a song, or something happens, you read a book, watch a movie, and you get a glimpse that might not be true.
Yeah.
And then you hopefully go and sing.
There you go.
And then that's the hope, at least. So yeah, man. I mean, I think, again, the arts very important, because a lot of times
it's terrible they try to take it out of schools, because I think kids need it. To be well-rounded.
Yeah, of course, totally.
I mean, there's so many reasons you need the arts. That doesn't mean you don't need math. Like why people say one or the other. You need it all. But the arts are like so important to our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, our creativity, and it affects every aspect of our life.
100%. And I'm not really a huge theory guy, but I mean, music is math and math is music. Like it's all one and the same. So
yep.
The either or should definitely be both and in my book.
That's it. So how does everybody reach out to you guys on socials, on the web, get your new EP, check out your music, tour dates, merch, all that good stuff?
Best place to go is if you're on Instagram at hardcastle.world. And if you're not on Instagram, www.hardcastleworld.com. Who says www anymore?
I know, right?
Hardcastleworld. I feel like I'm on an infomercial now, but if you're not on Instagram, you can go there. The EP comes out in September. We're going to put out the next single in July called Paranoiac. You heard it here first. And
nice.
We'll be playing some shows in June, but we'll be around. We'll definitely be making some noise. We're just getting started, and really, really excited to be connecting with you and everyone who's finding the music, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's pretty badass. My best bro of life that we went to 1 million gigs together. He passed away last year, 2 days after his birthday. His birthday's September 13th when you're dropping the album. And his name was Mark, and it's dropping via MNRK. So just take out the N, put in the A.
On it. We had two
there
Marks.
You go.
Yeah, Mark Needham and Mark McKee worked on it. Man, condolences for sure. Wow, that's quite a coincidence.
I know, and I just noticed it this second. Like I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it while I was going through all the press releases and stuff, but this second I was like looking at it, I'm like, oh, September 13th, and like visually looking at the MNRK and going,
right,
wow, that's weird.
Yeah, for sure. No, synchronicities. Yeah, man.
There it is. Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving us this great music, and thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
thank you so much for having me. And, we'll see you at a concert, hopefully connect, cross paths, do something in person.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Thanks a lot.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.